What's up, y'all? Y'all are listening to Living Corporate's flagship podcast. If you didn't know, Living Corporate helps organizations build employee engagement and market trust through data analytics and data transformation, our e-learning platform, and brand marketing storytelling. We're so excited for you to be here today. The conversation you're about to hear is going to connect the dots between employee experience and go-to-market effectiveness. If you're not ready, get ready. Here we go. What's up, y'all? It's Zach with Living Corporate and coming to you off schedule again. Excited about some of the conversations coming to you in the next few weeks between Nicaila Matthews-Okome, to Alexandra McCalla, to some other folks that we just have lined up, Dr. Angel Velez, as well as some features that we have in terms of spotlighting the work that we've done with Opportunity Labs and the data transformation work that we're leading, as well as Results CX and some of the work that we've been able to do with them over the past couple years. So plenty of stuff coming down the pipeline from a content perspective and just discussion perspective I'm excited about you all hearing. I'm coming to you all this week just to give you a few updates about me, what's happening with Living Corporate and our team. All good things, just different stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like I give you all a little behind the curtains as we load up and continue on this journey of all this really dope content. Oh, that reminds me. Shout out to Kimberly Bryant. Shout out to her, all of her great work. If y'all haven't checked out that conversation, you're missing out. Make sure you check it out. Really fun discussion. Really had a really fun time. I'm looking at these other conversations on the docket coming up, and I'm excited about them. But if you haven't caught up on the pod, this week will be a really good opportunity to do that. Now, back to me if you haven't checked out the newsletter recently. For those who don't know, I have recently, well, I didn't have them, but my wife and I have had twins, a boy and a girl. Really excited, really thankful. We're going to put the applause right here. You know what I'm saying? Clap it up for my wife. Salute to you. Thank you so much for doing everything that you do, for being here. Incredible. Man, I'm going to tell you, there's no more act, in my opinion, that is more super heroic than having a baby. And then to mess around and have two babies, right? So salute to y'all. Salute to women. Thank y'all for dealing with us, engaging us, and bringing life into this world. It is a beautiful thing if that is something you choose to do. Anyway, this summer, y'all, like, it's really strange. Like, this is going to be the first time that I'm going on a paternity leave that I'm in full control of. And, you know, like, for those who are founders and business owners and like full-time entrepreneurs, you know, there's this weird like balance between, okay, yeah, you need to take some time off, but also like, what does business continuity look like? And what does pipeline management look like? And, you know, especially if you're running lean, like Living Corporate is not a big company. So what does it look like for me to be present and engaged? But then also at the same time, like, I'm really excited about the work we're doing and like continuing on that work, right? And like managing our pipeline. And so, you know, there's going to be some pause that's going to have to happen somewhere, but needless to say, the podcast's going to continue to go, right? Y'all are going to continue to hear the pod. I hope that you continue to check it out. But I'm also going to have to figure out what space looks like for me. So I'm going to be journeying that in real time. So you're going to hear that in the conversations over the next few months, really for the rest of the year, because I really want to be present at home with these babies. Now, for those who are keeping count, now I got 4 kids. It's crazy because I really thought, you know, maybe I would have a world where there'd be 3 kids. 4 is kind of nuts. But anyway, that's where we're at. I'm looking at the situation, and again, I'm trying to navigate this thing. I'm passionate about podding. I'm passionate about connecting the dots between lived experience and employee experience and customer experience and fairness and how it plays across all of those things. And so these conversations are going to continue, but like I said, like, I got to figure out where I step back. So maybe we record in bunches and not drop them all like over time. It's probably what's going to end up happening. But just know that like things are going on, like life is lifing in a really beautiful way. I also wanted y'all to know that like Living Corporate continues to grow and shift and change, right? So if you haven't checked out our LinkedIn, if you haven't looked at like just our content in general, some of the case studies and things that we're dropping, we continue to be really focused on the insights work, right? Like, we're really passionate about data, because I really believe that, like, yes, qualitative matters and like stories are critical, because stories how you build connection. I also believe that when you can pair really strong stories with objective fact, I believe you have something really special, right? And so when I think about the work that we've been able to do with, again, Opportunity Labs, with Armino, with Results CX, with Amplify Credit Union, when I think about the work that we've done with Capgemini, all of that work, like, there's storytelling elements in it. At the same time, it was also driven by data analytics, right? So this idea of being able to ingest and take in your data, be it your HR data, your applicant tracking system data, your benefits elections data, your sentiment data, your performance management data, your customer experience data, your sales and go-to-market performance data, like taking all these different disparate data sets that may exist in different parts of your organization, stitching them together and bringing you a visualization and analysis that you can like quickly understand. That, for me, I've seen the impact of that, right? So like, I'm passionate about that work. And it's not just like showing you a bunch of like circle graphs and bar charts and like you just have a bunch of dashboards that you don't really understand. It's about presenting that information in a way that is digestible, and also pairing that with consultative recommendations and explaining to folks what all this means and what this means for your business. Like, that's what I get passionate about. I know that taps into my own experience as an HR professional, as an HR consultant, and it marries really well. I also believe that, like, when you take data, if you're able to like take the macro and then drill in. So if you're able to say, hey, here's what the experience of a Gen X white male in your finance department based out of New York is, this is what their experience is, that lends itself to really effective storytelling. Like, we can then build narratives around it because we're starting with data. And so I get passionate about that. And you're going to hear more and more, like, our bent and our angle is going to continue to focus on data and insight. Because as we continue to go down this path of like folks being very highly critical, with a high degree of scrutiny on anything, not just DEI, but just people oriented, I believe that our saving grace is going to be the data. Now, the reality is, if you have bias and just outright bigotry or just apathy towards people, then facts won't assuage that. Okay, I fully recognize that. I'm not believing that we're going to necessarily convert apathetic people to suddenly have some type of empathy for human beings. I think that that's something you got to get somewhere else. However, for those who are skeptical but open, data is a great starting point to help drive and build that journey of understanding and learning and ultimately organizational efficiency and transformation. And so we're going to continue to do that work. You're also going to continue to hear me be like critical, not of like a political party one way or the other, but really interrogate institutions. Okay. You know, I think in this moment, like, there's so much happening in this landscape, and the veneer of respectability, the veneer of professionalism, and the veneer of family, quote unquote, we are a family, those things kind of got washed away in the COVID era. And we're seeing now, especially with the rise of generative AI, we're seeing brands quite unashamedly just throw people to the wind, right? In the name of profit and shareholder value, right? Delivering shareholder value. We're gonna lay folks off. Yep, we're billions in the green. Don't care. We're still gonna lay off 6,000 people, right? So I want us, as we talk about employee experience and customer experience, I want us to, and I know this is hard, especially in this very politically charged environment, is to just start interrogating the systems that we're looking at, right? Which is late stage capitalist systems. The reality is we are not in a sustainable place. And like, the world of work is fundamentally changing in some really scary ways. And so when we have these conversations on LivingCorporate, I'm going to name that, right? I'm not going to necessarily be like the arbiter of doom and gloom, because I don't know what the future holds. I'm just saying, as we look at these trends, they are very concerning, right? And so I want us to be able to have those conversations, when you send us listener letters, when you give us feedback, and when you're just paying attention and checking in on the lives, I want you to also like turn that switch on. Like ask yourselves like, okay, why is this message why is this the message? And what do we need to do, shift and change so that we can have the world of work that makes sense and that's fair for everybody? Okay? Because right now, y'all, I don't know. Like I'm talking to a lot of people, really bright, intelligent, creative, innovative people who have been looking for jobs for a while. Okay. I know folks who are just even in their jobs today, their job is just sucking a lot more time and energy away while not actually giving them back the things that they were getting before in terms of various material and immaterial benefit. And so we're getting to a point, I believe, where something is going to have to give. And I don't know what that something is, but I do know that what we're doing is not sustainable. And so I want you to know, as you think about and prepare for future conversations, we're going to be very critical of the landscape that we're currently in, and also imagine and challenge ourselves to imagine different worlds, hopefully better worlds, not just for us, but for the kids that we're bringing into this world. Shoot, I got 4 of these kids. I don't want my children working in this type of workforce. This is depressing. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it, y'all. I'll be honest with you. The last thing I want to share, again, like sharing a bit of like stream of consciousness, but something that's been on my mind as well is like when we talk about the HR and DEI professional, right? I saw some post on LinkedIn the other day, and someone was like, I roll my eyes when people say that HR is for the company, it's not for people. And it's like, okay. I think that we have to grapple with the reality that human resources and corporate DEI, they do not exist for the primary function of benefiting employees. They exist to support and prop up executive leadership and the decisions that executive leadership teams make to benefit their shareholders, be that in a public context or private context, doesn't really matter, right? Now, let me tell you the difference between HR and DEI professionals that are really for the people and those who are not. The HR professionals and DEI professionals that I know that are authentically for people typically do not last long at their jobs. They're typically gone every 2 to 3 years, maybe every 3 to 4 years, right? No shot, no disrespect to nobody, okay? Yes, there are exceptions. Yes, there are folks who work and have been in position for a decade plus who are authentically pro and center employee well-being in their praxis and how they treat others and how they advocate every single day. I am saying that is not the norm, okay? It just isn't. And it's important, I believe, for us as we think about the future of work to be critical and thoughtful of what is the function and future of these positions, okay? If every time you see folks in people roles constantly having an opinion that just somehow seems to always side with the corporatist capitalist class, I'm gonna have to question that, right? If you're advocating for everyone to return to work, quote unquote, return to office, or you're presenting a position that remote work is somehow not ideal, especially for those in the margins, I'm gonna question that. If you present the job force, the labor force and the job market as just you needing to present yourself better and not at all interrogate the very landscape of work, I'm going to question that. I think it's important, like for those who sit in these positions of power in human resources context or DEI context, to ask yourself, what is it that you're actually advocating for? I believe that the season is over for aiming to present as a people-centric leader when in fact you're looking to serve you're looking to serve the executive class. Like, I don't actually think there's a lot of space to hide anymore. I think that gray area, it's quickly vanishing. And so, again, going back to it, the world of work is changing. I believe that means that people's roles are changing, and I believe that the ambiguity that people were able to participate in over the past however many years, it's going away. And so I think it's coming upon all of us, those who are outside of HR, to be critical and thoughtful about the messages that we're seeing. And I think it's also critical for those of us who are in HR and in DEI oriented type spaces to be thoughtful about what messages we're comfortable regurgitating, disseminating, amplifying. Okay. Let's see here. Make sure you check out Living Corporate's website, living-corporate.com. We have a bunch of dope stuff up there. Again, a bunch of case studies, folks that we're working with, folks that we have been working with for years. Please check out our merch, livingcorporate.shop. Okay. Click the links in the show notes to learn more. Keep up with us. Thank you so much for being a listener. I know some of y'all been rocking with Living Corporate since we started. Some of y'all are newer to Living Corporate. I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited about where I am personally, and I'm excited about what Living Corporate is as we engage in this world and this landscape today of work that is just fundamentally different and getting a little spooky. Okay. Now look, I might tell a joke, but I ain't never gonna tell y'all no lies, right? If I'm scared or if I'm anxious, I'm gonna tell y'all. Okay. And it's just looking crazy outside. It's really tough. Anyway, shout out to everybody. I love y'all. See y'all next week with a new episode. Peace.
Living Corporate is a podcast by Living Corporate LLC. Our logo was designed by David Dawkins. Our theme music was produced by Ken Brown. Additional music production by Antoine Franklin for Musical Elevation. Post-production is handled by Jeremy Jackson. Got a topic suggestion? Email us at livingcorporatepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us online on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and living-corporate.com. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned.